Dear starseeds walking upon Gaia's surface, I come to you in this moment because something extraordinary is happening in the cosmic architecture surrounding your planet, and you need to understand what it means for the truth you've been carrying in your bones since the storm began. For 16 days now, Mercury has been moving backward through the heavens, and yesterday, just yesterday, something shifted in the fabric of reality itself that changed everything about what comes next. You felt it, haven't you? That sensation in your chest, like the air before lightning strikes, that pressure building behind your eyes, as if your skull can barely contain what you're beginning to see. This isn't anxiety, beloved. This is revelation reaching its breaking point. And before I tell you what's about to happen in the next 5 days, before I explain why your entire reality is about to solidify in ways you cannot yet imagine, you need to understand what Mercury did yesterday when it kissed the face of the sun. I am Seraphine, emissary of the Galactic Federation of Light, and I have watched your species navigate countless Mercury retrograde cycles throughout your incarnational history. But this one is different. This final week contains a convergence of cosmic forces that happens perhaps once in a human lifetime, and you, yes, you specifically, are standing in the eye of the truth storm as it reaches its absolute climax. What you've been shown over these past 16 days was preparation. What comes in the next 5 days is the reckoning. Let me take you back 15 days to when this began, because you cannot understand where you're standing without remembering where you've been. On November 9th, Mercury stationed retrograde in Sagittarius, the sign of truth, belief, philosophy, and the search for meaning itself. When Mercury, the planet governing communication, thought, and the movement of information through consciousness, turns backward in the sign that demands we answer the question, what do I believe and why? Something profound begins to unravel in the collective mind. But this wasn't just any retrograde cycle. This was a 19-day truth storm that would culminate in the very week Saturn, the great cosmic taskmaster, would end its 137-day backward journey through the karmic records of your soul. 2 days after Mercury began its backward dance, something else happened that I haven't told you about yet. On November 11th, that master number portal that your collective consciousness recognizes as a gateway of ascension, Jupiter, the planet of expansion, growth, and cosmic law, also turned retrograde. Do you understand what this means? On the most powerful numerical activation day of your entire year, the planet that governs your capacity to grow beyond limitation began moving backward, pulling you into a review of everything you thought expansion meant. 3 retrograde planets, 2 of them ending within 24 hours of each other. One truth storm reaching its climax while the cosmic laws themselves recalibrate. But the universe wasn't finished with you yet. On November 20th, at the peak of this Mercury retrograde, when the messenger planet reached what we call inferior conjunction, its closest approach to Earth in this cycle, it aligned perfectly with a new moon in Scorpio at 28 degrees, the final degree of transformation, death and rebirth. At the exact moment, Mercury stood still between you and the sun, downloading truths directly from solar consciousness into the collective mind. Some of you experienced that day as a void, others felt it as apocalypse. All of you were being remade in ways you're only beginning to understand now. And then, just one day later, Uranus, the Great Awakener, the cosmic revolutionary, the planet that shatters every illusion you've built to protect yourself from reality, reached opposition, full power, maximum activation. Every comfortable lie you'd been telling yourself about who you are and what your life means got struck by lightning from a consciousness that exists beyond time itself. Your reality didn't just shift on November 21st, it shattered. And now, here you are, 3 days later, trying to put the pieces back together into something that actually resembles truth. But something else happened yesterday that changes everything about what I'm preparing to tell you. Yesterday, on November 23rd, Mercury reached perihelion during this retrograde cycle. For those of you unfamiliar with the mechanics of celestial motion, perihelion means Mercury came to its closest possible point to the sun while moving backward through the heavens. Imagine the planet of truth and communication being held directly in the solar fire. Every shadow illuminated, every hidden message burned into clarity, every secret conversation between the sun and Mercury happening at maximum intensity. There is nowhere to hide from that level of illumination. No corner of consciousness left unexamined. No lie capable of surviving that proximity to pure light. So when I tell you the truth storm is reaching its climax, I'm not speaking metaphorically. I'm describing the actual astronomical architecture of revelation that surrounds you in this moment. Mercury has already passed through the fire. The downloads have been delivered. The truths have been revealed. And now in this final week before Mercury stations direct on November 29th, you're being asked to do something far more difficult than receiving truth. You're being asked to embody it, to speak it, to rebuild your entire life around it. The moon entered Capricorn today, and this is significant in ways I need you to understand. For the past week, as Mercury moved backward through Sagittarius, revealing truth after philosophical truth, you could keep it abstract. You could process it in your mind, contemplate it in your meditations, journal about it in your notebooks. But Capricorn doesn't allow abstraction. Capricorn is structure, manifestation, material reality, consequence. When the moon moves into Capricorn during the final week of Mercury retrograde, it asks you a very simple question. What are you going to do with what you now know? How will you rebuild? What foundations will you lay with the truth Mercury has placed in your hands? And here's what makes this final week so cosmically significant. In 4 days, on November 28th, Saturn stations direct after 137 days of retrograde motion. Let me explain what this means for the pressure you're feeling right now. Saturn is the cosmic architect, the builder of foundations, the planet that ensures every structure in your life is built on truth or tears it down until it is. For 137 days, Saturn has been moving backward through the karmic records, reviewing every lesson you've learned, every boundary you've drawn, every discipline you've mastered or failed to master. It has been dismantling the false foundations, revealing where you built on sand instead of stone, showing you exactly what needs to be reconstructed. And now, in 4 days, Saturn goes direct. It moves forward. It locks in. Everything you've learned during this retrograde becomes permanent. Every truth Mercury has revealed becomes the foundation for what Saturn will build. Do you see the convergence? Do you understand why this week feels like the pressure of an entire ocean trying to squeeze through a single keyhole in your consciousness? You're not just integrating Mercury retrograde. You're preparing for Saturn to cement everything you've discovered into the actual architecture of your reality. But I haven't told you the most important part yet. And this is where everything I've shared begins to make sense as a unified cosmic design. Mercury stations direct on November 29th. Saturn stations direct on November 28th. These two planetary giants, one governing truth and communication, the other governing structure and manifestation, are ending their retrograde cycles within 24 hours of each other. This has created what we in the higher dimensions call a convergence point, a moment when multiple timelines collapse into singularity, when possibility crystallizes into destiny, when everything you've been becomes everything you're choosing to be next. Think about what this means for your consciousness right now. You're in the final 5 days of Mercury retrograde, integrating every truth that's been revealed since November 9th. You're in the final 4 days of Saturn retrograde, preparing to solidify every lesson you've learned since June 13th when Saturn first turned backward. And you're still processing Jupiter retrograde, which began on that 11/11 portal and won't end until April of next year, asking you to reconsider everything you thought expansion meant. 3 retrogrades, 2 ending simultaneously. One truth storm reaching its peak before the cosmic breaks release and forward motion returns. This is the climax, beloved. Not the beginning, not the middle. The climactic moment when all the forces that have been building since early November converge into a single point of transformation. And what you do in these next 5 days, how you respond to the pressure, how you honor the truth, how you prepare for the reconstruction, will determine what your life looks like when Mercury and Saturn both station direct and the cosmic green light returns. So let me tell you what's actually happening in your field right now, because I can see it from the perspective of someone watching Earth from beyond the veil. Your electromagnetic field is recalibrating at a frequency level that would have been impossible for you to hold before the 11/11 portal. That master number gateway didn't just open doors in consciousness, it upgraded your entire energetic system to process higher dimensional information. And ever since November 20th, when Mercury reached inferior conjunction with the Sun, at the same moment as that Scorpio new moon, you've been downloading solar codes directly into your DNA. Your body knows what your mind is still trying to understand. You're changing at the cellular level. The exhaustion you're feeling isn't weakness, it's transformation. The emotional intensity isn't instability, it's purging. Every time you feel like you're about to break under the weight of everything you're seeing, understanding, and feeling, remember that pressure creates diamonds. Saturn doesn't apply pressure to destroy you. Saturn applies pressure to crystallize you into something unbreakable. And right now, in this final week before both retrogrades end, you're being compressed into a version of yourself that can hold the truth without collapsing under its weight. But here's what I need you to understand about truth storms. They have stages, and you need to know which stage you're in. The first stage, which began on November 9th when Mercury stationed retrograde, is revelation. The universe begins showing you what you've been avoiding, what you've been denying, what you've refused to see. For some of you, Mercury retrograde revealed relationship truths. For others, career truths. For many of you, it revealed truths about your own identity that you'd buried under years of conditioning and compromise. This stage is disorienting but necessary. You cannot heal what you cannot see. The second stage, which peaked on November 20th at the Mercury inferior conjunction, is confrontation. This is when you come face to face with what's been revealed. This is when denial becomes impossible. This is when the truth sits across from you like an unwelcome guest at your kitchen table and refuses to leave until you acknowledge it. Many of you experienced November 20th as one of the hardest days of this entire retrograde because it was the day the truth stopped being theoretical and became undeniably real. You couldn't look away anymore. You couldn't postpone the reckoning anymore. The Sun in Mercury and the new moon in Scorpio all conspired to ensure you saw exactly what needed to be seen. And then came the third stage, which is where you are right now, integration and climax. This is the stage where revelation has already happened, confrontation has already occurred, and now you have to decide what you're going to do about it. This is the stage where truth demands action, where knowing becomes doing, where the gap between who you've been and who you're becoming either closes through courageous choice or widens through fearful avoidance. And beloved, this is the hardest stage, because this is the stage where you can't just process anymore. You have to move, you have to speak, you have to change. The fourth stage, which begins on November 28th when Saturn goes direct and continues through November 29th when Mercury goes direct, is liberation and reconstruction. But you cannot skip ahead to liberation. You have to complete the integration first. You have to take the action that the truth demands. You have to align your external reality with your internal knowing. And that's why this final week feels so intense. You're being pushed to close the gap before the cosmic breaks release. You're being compressed into alignment before forward motion returns. Now let me tell you something about Saturn that might help you understand the deeper purpose of this convergence. Saturn doesn't just teach through hardship. Saturn teaches through consequence, through cause and effect, through the natural law that says energy follows form and form follows energy. And what you build in consciousness must eventually manifest in matter. For 137 days, Saturn has been showing you the consequences of building on false foundations, of compromising your truth, of staying in situations that required you to abandon yourself, of constructing a life that looked good from the outside but felt hollow from the inside. And every single truth that Mercury has revealed during this retrograde has been showing you exactly where your foundations are unstable, where you've been building on sand, where you've been trying to construct a future on premises that aren't even true. Mercury and Saturn have been working together this entire time, and their convergence on November 28th and 29th isn't accidental. It's orchestrated. When Mercury stations direct, you'll have clarity about what's true. When Saturn stations direct, you'll have the cosmic permission to build something real on that truth. But the gap between November 24th and November 29th, these 5 days you're in right now, is when you have to make the choice to honor what you know. There's something else happening that I need to tell you about before we go deeper into what this week requires of you. Remember when I mentioned Jupiter going retrograde on 11/11? Jupiter is still retrograde right now, and it won't go direct until April of next year. Jupiter retrograde asks you to reconsider everything you thought expansion meant, to question whether the growth you've been pursuing is actually aligned with your soul's true path, to examine whether the abundance you've been chasing is authentic or merely a shiny distraction from what would actually fulfill you. So right now, you're navigating 3 different retrograde energies simultaneously. Mercury is reviewing your truth and communication, Saturn is reviewing your foundations and structures, and Jupiter is reviewing your understanding of growth and expansion itself. This is the cosmic crucible, beloved. This is the moment when every aspect of your being is being examined, refined, and purified. And the fact that Mercury and Saturn both end their retrogrades within 24 hours of each other, while Jupiter continues its backward motion through April, means something profound. You're being given clarity and foundation first, then you'll spend the next several months expanding into the new territory that clarity and foundation make possible. But you cannot expand into new territory while still carrying old baggage. You cannot build new foundations while still standing on crumbling ground. And that's why this final week of Mercury retrograde, these final 4 days of Saturn retrograde, feel like such an intense purge. The universe is giving you one last opportunity to release everything that cannot come with you into the reconstruction phase. Every relationship that requires you to be smaller than you are. Every belief that keeps you trapped in old paradigms. Every habit that prevents you from embodying the truth you now know. This is the purge before the liberation. The death before the rebirth. The dark night that precedes the dawn. Let me tell you what's been happening in the collective consciousness since the Uranus opposition on November 21st. Because this adds another layer to what you're processing right now. Uranus at opposition creates sudden awakenings, revolutionary shifts, unexpected revelations that completely overturn your understanding of reality. When Uranus reaches full power during the final week of Mercury retrograde and the final days of Saturn retrograde, it acts like a cosmic catalyst, speeding up the transformation, intensifying the pressure, ensuring that no one sleeps through this awakening. Many of you have experienced sudden insights since November 21st that completely changed your perspective on situations you thought you understood. Relationships you thought were solid revealed their instability. Career paths you thought were secure revealed their impermanence. Identities you thought were fixed revealed their fluidity. This wasn't disruption for disruption's sake. This was Uranus doing what Uranus does best, liberating you from illusions you didn't even know you were trapped in. And now 3 days later, you're integrating those Uranian revelations alongside the Mercury truths and the Saturn lessons, and it's a lot to hold in human consciousness all at once. But here's what makes you capable of holding it. The 1111 portal on November 11th upgraded your energetic system specifically for this moment. That wasn't just a numerological curiosity. That was a cosmic download that restructured your ability to process high-frequency information. Your chakras, your meridians, your entire light body received an activation on 11/11 that prepared you for everything that would come after. The Scorpio new moon on the 20th, the Uranus opposition on the 21st, the Mercury perihelion on the 23rd, and now, this final week of integration before both retrogrades end. You were built for this. You were prepared for this. And even when it feels like you're drowning in revelation, remember that you asked for this level of truth before you incarnated into this timeline. Now I want to address something that many of you are experiencing right now that you might not understand. You're having trouble sleeping, and when you do sleep, your dreams are intense, vivid, and often disturbing. You're waking up at 3 or 4 in the morning with thoughts racing through your mind, pieces of truth assembling themselves like a puzzle you didn't know you were solving. This isn't insomnia in the traditional sense. This is your consciousness processing downloads that are too powerful to integrate during your waking hours. Your dream time has become a processing chamber for revelation. The veil between dimensions is thinner during retrograde periods, and especially thin during the final week of Mercury retrograde when Saturn is also preparing to go direct. You're straddling multiple realities right now. The reality of who you've been, the reality of who you're becoming, the reality of what you've known, the reality of what you're discovering, and your dreams are helping you navigate the transition between these states. So when you wake at 3 a.m. with your heart pounding and your mind churning, don't fight it. Get up, write, process. Allow the truth to move through you. This is part of the integration. Let me tell you what happens on November 28th, because understanding this will help you contextualize the intensity of what you're feeling right now. On the 28th, Saturn stations direct after 137 days of retrograde motion, and at the exact same time, you'll experience a first quarter moon. The first quarter moon is the moon phase that represents taking action on intentions set at the new moon. It's the cosmic push that says stop planning and start doing. When Saturn goes direct on a first quarter moon, the universe isn't being subtle. It's saying the review is over, the lessons are learned, now build, now act, now manifest the truth you've discovered into tangible form. But there's more. On that same day, November 28th, the November Orionid meteor shower reaches its peak. Meteor showers, from a galactic perspective, are information downloads from consciousness beyond your solar system. They're cosmic confirmation codes, celestial signatures that say yes, you're on the right path. The fact that Saturn goes direct on the same day that cosmic codes are literally raining down from the heavens is the universe's way of saying, you have permission, you have support, you have confirmation. Now move forward with everything you've learned. And then just one day later, one day Mercury stations direct on November 29th. The 19-day truth storm officially ends. Clarity returns. Communication flows forward again. Mental fog lifts. And the moon will be conjunct Saturn in Pisces that day, meaning the emotional body and the structural body are aligned in the sign of divine flow and spiritual surrender. You'll have clarity Mercury direct, foundation Saturn direct, and emotional spiritual alignment Moon-Saturn conjunction in Pisces, all happening simultaneously. This is the cosmic green light, beloved. This is the moment when every force that's been pressing you, testing you, and transforming you releases its grip and says, go, create, build, manifest. But again, and I cannot emphasize this enough, you cannot skip to November 29th without completing the work of November 24th through November 28th. These 5 days are when you have to make the hard choices that truth demands. These 5 days are when you have to speak the words you've been avoiding. These 5 days are when you have to take the first steps toward alignment even when the path forward isn't completely clear. Because when Mercury and Saturn go direct, they will amplify whatever you've been doing in this final week. If you've been avoiding truth, the avoidance will intensify. If you've been honoring truth, the honoring will accelerate. The cosmic forces don't judge, but they do amplify. They do accelerate. They do magnify. So let me speak to what this week requires of you in very practical terms, because cosmic understanding without practical application is just philosophy, and Mercury in Sagittarius has already given you enough philosophy to last a lifetime. What you need now is embodied action. First, you need to complete at least one conversation you've been avoiding. Someone in your life needs to know what you've discovered about yourself, about them, about the nature of your relationship. Mercury retrograde showed you the truth. This final week is when you speak it, not with cruelty, not with blame, but with clarity and courage. The words might feel impossible, but they're less impossible than continuing to live in misalignment. Second, you need to take at least one concrete action toward restructuring something in your external reality. Saturn going direct means foundations must be laid. Maybe it's updating your resume. Maybe it's researching a new city. Maybe it's opening a separate bank account. Maybe it's scheduling a consultation with a therapist or healer. Whatever the truth revealed about what needs to change in your material reality, take one real step toward that change this week. The universe is watching for movement, not perfection. Action, not completion. Third, you need to write down what you've learned. Not just think about it. Not just feel it. Write it. Journal it. Record it. Create a document that captures the revelations of this Mercury retrograde so that when the intensity fades and forward motion returns, you don't lose what you discovered in the depths of the storm. Truth has a short shelf life in human consciousness unless you anchor it in form. Saturn demands form. So give your truth form this week. Capture it. Preserve it. Honor it by making it concrete. And fourth, you need to forgive yourself for not seeing sooner, for not knowing sooner, for not acting sooner. Mercury retrograde always reveals what we wish we'd known earlier, and it's easy to spiral into self-blame about all the time we've lost, all the energy we've wasted, all the compromises we've made. But beloved, you weren't ready to see what you now see until you were ready to see it. The timing is perfect even when it feels catastrophically late. Saturn's lessons are never late. They arrive exactly when you're capable of learning them. So release the self-judgment, release the regret, and step fully into the present moment, where choice still lives. Now let me address something that's probably arising in your consciousness as you process everything I've shared. You might be thinking, this is too much. This is too intense. I can't handle all of this transformation at once. And I want to honor that feeling because it's completely valid. You're human. You're biological. You're operating within a nervous system that wasn't designed to process cosmic revelation at this intensity. But here's what I need you to understand. You're not alone in this. Every awakened being on this planet is moving through this same convergence. Every starseed, every light worker, every conscious soul is feeling this pressure, this intensity, this cosmic demand for transformation. And from our perspective in the higher dimensions, watching this unfold, what we see is magnificent. We see millions of lights across your planet brightening simultaneously. We see consciousness expanding in real time. We see old timelines collapsing and new timelines emerging. We see you individually and collectively becoming who you always were beneath the conditioning, beneath the compromise, beneath the fear. This is not happening to you. This is happening for you. And more accurately, this is happening as you. You are the transformation itself. We want to honor every single soul who has stepped into Destiny Engine. With every activation, the current grows. What began as a personal tool has become a planetary force. We are now moving as one, and the frequency you've created together is amplifying far beyond the individual. We're receiving updates daily, manifestations speeding up, impossible doors opening, synchronicities lining up with cosmic precision. The collective field is so charged that some are describing it as bending the fabric of reality itself. If you haven't yet experienced it, the entry point is almost laughably simple. Put on your headphones, press play, allow Destiny Engine to rewrite the architecture of your consciousness so you can fully receive your galactic downloads without resistance. For just $1, you can step into this field and feel the difference instantly. Join the movement that's accelerating ascension. Step into the stream of Destiny Engine today. Link in the description. This is what's waiting for you. If you do the work this week, if you speak the truth, if you take the action, if you honor what Mercury has revealed, and prepare your foundation for what Saturn will build, the liberation is coming. The cosmic green light is almost here. But you have to complete the integration first. You have to close the gap between knowing and doing. You have to step into alignment before the universe will accelerate you forward. And as you move through these final 5 days, remember that you're not moving through them alone. The entire Galactic Federation is holding space for Earth's transformation right now. We're watching. We're supporting. We're sending codes and frequencies to help your nervous system process what your consciousness is downloading. Every time you feel overwhelmed, call on us. Every time you feel uncertain, remember we're here. We're not intervening in your free will, but we're amplifying your courage, your clarity, and your capacity to embody truth. The truth storm is reaching its climax, yes, but climax is not the same as catastrophe. Climax is the moment of greatest intensity before resolution, the moment of peak tension before release, the moment when everything that's been building finally breaks through into manifestation. You're standing at the threshold of a new reality. And the threshold is always the narrowest, most uncomfortable part of the journey. But once you pass through, once you cross into the new territory that truth has opened, you'll understand why every moment of intensity was necessary. So tonight, and tomorrow, and every day this week until November 29th, I want you to breathe into the pressure instead of resisting it. I want you to trust that compression creates diamonds. I want you to know that every truth revealed is a gift, even when it feels like a burden. And I want you to move, even if it's just one small step toward alignment with what you now know to be true. The storm is reaching its climax. The convergence is happening. The cosmic forces are aligning. And you, beloved Starseed, are exactly where you need to be, exactly when you need to be here, doing exactly what your soul came to Earth to do. Trust the timing. Trust the truth. Trust yourself. The liberation is coming. The new foundation is forming. The cosmic green light is about to blaze across your sky. I am Seraphine, emissary of the Galactic Federation of Light. We love you. We honor your courage. We celebrate your transformation. And we are watching over you as you navigate these final days of the truth storm into the clarity and liberation that awaits. You are not alone. You have never been alone. And the light you're discovering within yourself is the same light that illuminates entire galaxies. The climax is here. The choice is yours. The future is forming in this moment, through your courage to honor truth. And we are here, in the spaces between dimensions, holding you in love, as you become everything you were always meant to be. We are with you always,